Good morning guys, it's Sunday. Let's have a look what we got. The builder has sorted this out. He's prepped it up with some grit. Looks like grit to me. It doesn't look like there's much grit in it. I'm not sure what he's used there. But as you can see, it is an artex. We've got to get some scrimming up around those holes that have been cut out. And I guess we're going to clean this out, clear this room out as best we can. And cover up all these units and stuff. Yeah. It'd be nice to get in there before the units went up and all that, but you can't have everything, and I couldn't get here in time for him, so he had to push on. That's just one of those things we're gonna have to cover up. Right, I guess we can move some stuff out of here. Right, I'm gonna do that. I don't know what sort of video it's gonna be today. It's Sunday, give me a break. I'm gonna take a nice chilled one. It might be just like put a load of music all over it. Right, let's get on. Okay, so the builder guy has just left, and yeah, we've been here to tie down, and as you see, got some dust sheets, some nice heavy duty dust sheets as well. I said, what was it you put on the ceiling there? And he said it was neat SBR, but he put some chalk dust in it, probably from his ping line or something like that, so you could see where he'd been. And wasn't it? Feels very, very rubbery, and this has been up for a couple of days. Because we've got a bit of depth going on there, I've had to scrim up these, and I've put some staples in with my staple gun. I've put it away now. Because you can get a bit, if you've got too much wet weight on top of a scrim, something like that, it can quite easily pull the scrim off and it'll drop on the floor. Yeah, other than that, and then we've got the coving to obviously contend with and make sure we keep everything nice and tidy. See, there's a bit of a bow in it this way. But there's not much else to do other than mix up the plaster, get this done as quick as possible. Then I can get home, crack a beer open, and my wife will have the Sunday roast going today. She said she's going to make a roast today. We haven't had a roast for a little while, so that's all good. Something to look forward to. So let's get this done. Get home, crack a beer, eat a roast, fall asleep on the sofa. Nice and ready. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for Monday morning when we're up again, exceptionally early to go and start a brand new job, which I'm sure we will be recording. So let's get on. Okay, as I said, there's not too much to talk about on this job, but I'm sure I'll find something. Let's start with how much plaster we're going to need. I'm going to guess it's going to be about a bag or so, maybe a little bit more. It's always a little bit more difficult to guess the amount we need when you're going over such a textured finish like that, because obviously we need a lot more depth. You know, if he's going over flat plasterboard, you know, it generally does what it says, like a bag should be 10 square meters, and this is nowhere near 10 square meters, but I think it is going to eat just about a bag. So the other thing we need to worry about, because this has been SBR'd and it's quite a silky paint up there as well, not going to be any suction at all. So what we need to do is put quite a thick coat on there, and it's going to hang around for quite a while, and we want that first coat to pick up because it's going to start sagging underneath its own weight. Should I just talk you through it as we do it? But I'm going to put some accelerator in this plaster because there's not going to be any suction, and I'm just going to be waiting for that first coat, literally doing nothing else. This is all I've got to do here today, just this one ceiling. So it's not like I can occupy myself with doing some other bits and pieces. I want to get this done as quick as possible. So, to speed things up, what we're going to be showcasing today is this stuff, Speedy Set, given to me by Justin Phoebes. You can see www.speedyset.co.uk. Now, Justin did speak to me quite extensively about this product, saying that the chemicals in this are very high quality compared to some others. So it doesn't weaken the plaster, and also look, they give you this bag of tiny little fibres. Chuck some of them in there, look at that. Okay, so obviously we've got the water in there, and this is the scoop they send you. As you can see, it's kind of like, you know, it's like a washing powder to me, so I'm going to assume it's a level scoop. It says 1 scoop per every 5 litres, okay, of water. So for a whole bag of multi, we're really looking at 2 scoops, I think, if we want to effectively reduce that setting time. 2 scoops in there. Then we spin all that round before we put any plaster in there. And we'll see what that does. I'll take a note of the time from when we knock up to when we complete. Okay, so the time right now is 8:40 and I'm just about to open this bag. I've just used my mixer there just to give this water a bit of a spin round with all that additive in there. So now's the time. 8:40 is the time. It's a bit warm again today, very muggy. Right, let's turn straight back around the flattening thing. Okay, so it's 9:15 now, and it's time for another re-evaluation of what's going on. We did pretty good in guessing how much plaster we needed. That's what I've got left over, which is hardly anything. I've been put the ceiling on, and I've also been across with that 20x5 carbon steel trowel. It's a rather large trowel, I know. If you've not seen it before, it is rather famous on this channel. You don't have to use one that big. I love it. It's predominantly straight. I'm not going to go into one about it now, but that's all I'm using in here for right up towards the end. Okay, so let's have a look. We are quite thick, and we can see the pattern from the artex bleeding through when the plaster, whilst it's sagging under the dampness of its own weight. Okay. Also, look around the coving edge. We try to be as neat as possible, but unfortunately, I would have preferred if this ceiling had a bit more of a scrape, especially around the edges towards the edge of the coving, because obviously we need to try and keep that line as straight as possible. But when it's as deep as that, because of the texture, then it is a little bit difficult. Now you can see I've been as neat as I can, but some places I've bled down and had a little bit of trouble trying to keep that line this profile of the coving clean. Okay, so all I've done is put the plaster on and I've flattened on. So this is still the first coat at the moment. I'm going to leave that alone because I want this first coat to pick up, okay? Because if I try cleaning that now, I mean, there is a couple of things you can do. You can kind of, if you've got time, get your finger and your thumb, run your finger there and kind of create a gauge, and then you can clean the coving off. Like so, get a bit and keep wiping out on something. If you've got time to do it, I might do that actually, since I have got time to do it. Tidy it up like that. So yeah, you can, but we can leave that for a little bit later. So as I said, time's 9:15. I can kind of feel that plaster picking up a little bit with that additive in there. So I'm going to go around, clean the coving off with my thumb like I just showed you. And I'm going to try and keep this here, because I'm going to use this dirty water. I'm going to put fresh water in there, because I need to put a second coat on. But I need this first coat to pick up quite a bit, which means it's going to pick up in the bucket quite a bit. Now I don't want to wash the bucket round now, because what will happen is if I wash the bucket round now, then the plaster that's in there, I'm knocking that back. okay, and all the time it's sitting in the bottom of the bucket, it's starting to set again, okay, and it will start to stick to the bottom of the bucket. And then when I come to knock up, I'll be throwing more water in and I'll be knocking it back again. So I've kind of knocked it back twice. So I don't normally knock or clean the bucket back until right before I'm just about to mix up the new plaster, so it hasn't got time to sort of like settle on the bottom of the bucket or anything like that. So that is what we're going to do, and I'll get back to you and tell you what the time is. Keep my eye on it. The reason we want this to pick up is because I need it to go and start holding itself together, so that when we do put that second coat on there, the pattern doesn't come through, because if I put more wet weight on there, it's just going to make it sag even more. So this is why we need the first coat to pick up. There is other ways around it. You can put a bit of bonding or something like that in your first coat. There is, different plasterers have different techniques. I tend to do it like this. I don't ever have any problems. I like to keep things simple. It's just multi-finish up there. Knocked up a little bit stiffer, left a little bit longer. That's it. Okay, so I've just been around the edges and cleaned up the coving. Now, like I say, the problem with the coving, when it's had artex on it, I don't know if you noticed, at the beginning when we were showing you, the artexes, they have a little inch brush and they run it round. So the coving will be done first, and then the artexes come in and artex up to the coving. You just finish off, they run round and make all the border and everything and make a little inch line, okay, and that's what puts a little lip of artex across onto that profile of the coving, and also you get quite a deep line, a deficit right at that profile point as well. That's why round the coving you really do need to kind of scrape it back and get it as straight as you can. Now, what happens is when you start plastering the ceiling, if I didn't clean this coving off and I left it to the end and I go, okay, all right, now it's all gone, and so now I'm going to get a really rigid scraper and just scrape all those snots off once it's set and hard. What happens is you'll start digging through, you'll get the plaster off, but you'll start digging through the paint and you'll be getting into that soft artex, and you'll end up wrecking that profile and causing much more damage than good trying to get hard plaster off. So you kind of do have to balance it out and get that plaster off when it's kind of like picking up a little bit, but not, gone right off, because I can't run a brush around there now. I can run a brush when it's picked right up, but I can't run a brush around there now because the plaster's too wet. I'm going to be digging into that fresh plaster and causing a rippled line across there, and we really need that line to be as straight as possible, because it's, two parallel lines like that. If they're not straight and parallel together, they're really going to stick out because they're so close together. I've struggled over here. The ceiling is warping and bowing all over the place, which is another reason why I enjoyed that 20x5 carbon steel trowel. It really helps me out with things like that. You can use speed skims and things like that, but I tend to find that speed skims, you might be using a perma-shaped trowel then, and that's all right, but the speed skims, especially the plastic ones, they tend to follow the contours a little bit more. With that thing, where it's so straight and rigid, it forces me to flatten things out, and in the long run, I find it a lot easier. So yeah, you might spend a little bit more time, might be a little bit more difficult getting things flat at such an early stage with that trowel, but what that does, it speeds up the rest of the process, okay? I'm not messing around. Then when I put the next coat on, it's going to go lovely, and when it starts troweling up, that's where I'm going to start saving the time, the investment, the money I put in the bank by putting on nice and flat in the first place. Okay, the time is 9:35 and it is starting to pick up, I would say. Maybe just is still a little bit tad too wet, especially since we've gone over the artex. Still feels quite slimy, but remember it's deep and we've got literally no suction going on with all that SBR in there. It's got to go off under its own steam, so the moisture's got nowhere to go. So what I'm probably going to do now is quickly just tidy this up even more and give it a second flattening before we put a third coat on there. Second coat. We've put one coat on, we've flattened it in, now we're going to flatten it in again, then we're going to put another coat on in a minute, right, okay. Time is 9:44 and I've been across this now and given it a second flatten in, and it is picking up rather nicely, and I think it might be time, considering how fast it is picking up, judging it, to actually start thinking about knocking up and putting a second coat on here. Now, it took just over a bag to get this on, and generally if you are putting the second coat over an area. So let's say you put one bag on. To put the second coat on, it's normally going to take you half a bag, it's half as much again. But we're going to be even less than that on here, because remember we had to take out so much of the depth, so a lot of it was eaten up in there. So if this was over a bag, when judging it now, we've got it nice and flat. I'm thinking it's more like a quarter of a bag, nowhere near. It's not going to be half a bag, that's going to be far too much. This gear here, as you can see, kind of can still move it. Now's the time to wash this round with some fresh water. I'm going to put that in there, I'm going to mix that round, knock that all back, and then I'm going to add the fresh plaster into it. I'm not putting any more additive in there now, I'm using the dirty water as my accelerator now. Okay, there's as much water as I've got in there. Remember, when you put your water in, it's going to pretty much double in size when you put the plaster in and get it up to the consistency that you wish. Now, do you really want to watch me knock up again? Alright, let's do it again and we'll put some nice music on it, okay? Near as much as we had. Time is 4 minutes past 10 o'clock in the morning. So I haven't got back and flattened this in yet. That's how that second coat went on. Still using nothing else but that 20x5 carbon steel trowel. So you can see, this is where we're saving a bit of time now, and we've got quality because now, you know, it's literally flattened out straight away, but I want to get things cleaned up. Start getting tools out. It's just a case of seeing this across the finish line now. Now, if I'm not going on about my 20x5 carbon steel trowel, quite often it's because I'm going on about this little wet brush, which is from Wicks, 4-inch, and I like it because it's big enough to deliver a nice bit of water, and I never use a corner trowel, so it's a substitution for keeping angles like this really nice and clean. Well, not clean so much, you can see I stained all the cove in with plaster water, but it certainly keeps things straight. Now, that plaster water is not really going to hurt anything because it's going to be sanded down and repainted. And if it does anything, it actually fills some of the deficits in there. But some people might be a bit more anal about it. And if you need to, just get some fresh water and sponge that off before it goes hard. It's 24 minutes past 10. I've just been round and cleaned all the clothing, and now what I'm going to do is take my wet brush and I'm going to give it another wet trowel. 24 minutes past 10. Is 10:44 and I believe this 20 by 5 carbon steel trowel by Marshalltown has done its job and can get cleaned up and hand over to this thing. This is a trowel slightly stiffer than a lot of others. It's a Flex 2 by Rafina. You can just see the wording on there. A little bit stiffer. It's made of stainless steel, and because we've got the flatness sorted out so well with that larger, straighter trowel, now we can switch to one of these and start concentrating on closing the surface in and really making it nice and smooth. Okay, we're just pretty much getting across the ceiling now with this, and this is the sort of sludge we're getting out now. It's not very, you can't hardly feel any grains in there. You can't really use this. This is proper fat. The first time you come over and start flattening in the stuff, maybe the first pass with a wet brush, you can use that stuff that's coming out of there. It's almost like using a third coat to fill out little areas. That might have been troublesome, but now that's no good for anything. You can't fill with that, because what will happen is if there's a hole and you try to fill with that, you'll be able to fill it out now. But what's going to happen is the water's going to dry, evaporate out of it. When it does, it's going to shrink right back and just fall back into the hole again. So yeah, that's no good. You've got to wash that off. The time is 11 minutes past 11. And this ceiling has seen its last trowel with that flexible stainless steel Rafina 2. This is the sort of, I've washed it off already. See a little bit of it there. Sorry, camera ran the wrong way. That's the sort of sludge we're getting out there. Just literally nothing at all. But. So now we know that ceiling is done. All I've got to do now is just get tidied up. So I can't remember what time it started. I'll rewind back to the video. But yeah, 11 minutes past 11, ceiling has set and it's been final. Just clean out the holes, get tidied up, and make a tree and get out of here. Let's do that. So there we go, it's pretty much 24 minutes past 11 in the morning and I'm sat in my van ready to rock and roll back home. Be nice if every day was like that, wouldn't it? Finish at 11. Yeah, got pretty much paid a full day, mate was happy. Came on Sunday, it was obviously not through that customer that was there, it was through the guy that's doing the kitchen, so he come out to see me, give me some money before I finished. Finished at 11 o'clock, I'm off home. Enjoy this weather. What was I going to say? Do you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll probably put a clip on it at the end. So let's get home and we'll go from there. We'll start editing this for Monday night. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Not that it's of any great importance at all, but yeah, Sunday. So I don't mind coming over here on a Sunday because I have to drive the other side of Reading. I have to drive through Reading town centre to get here. So there was hardly any traffic this morning. So we'll see what the traffic's like on the way back, because I'm not the biggest fan of the place called Reading. I very rarely come here. I don't come here unless I really need to. So every now and again for work, but especially trying to get over that Caversham Bridge and stuff. The traffic is terrible. The road system in Reading it's one of those places just sometimes you're like, what is going on with this junction? You just don't understand what's happening. So yeah, let's get back through Reading and get home. All right, see you on the other side. Alright guys, yeah, thanks for watching that. Yeah, this will probably be up for Monday evening. Yeah, if you enjoyed that, we've got quite a few videos we're pumping out at the moment. We've been really busy. So work Saturday, Sunday. I've already got Saturday booked in next week because I've got the full week booked in, and you know what it's like. Nice to have a nice even keel of things, wouldn't it? Where you know. I've been a little bit quiet. I've had a few days, which has been nice, you know, not a full week for the last couple of weeks. I've had like 4 days, and a job been cancelled and stuff like that. And where the weather's been so hot, I don't want to just chill, yeah. But now, I ain't got enough time. I've got too much work. There's too much work going on. And I can't get around to it, which is why it's not for the money, it's to keep people happy, you know, going around and getting someone to get there Sunday, mate. That's the only time I can do it, because I'm back in, blah, 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 doing something else. You guys know what it's like. So yeah, if you are a professional plasterer, then thanks for watching this channel. If you are a DIY guy and you're looking for tips and hints and stuff like that, then it might be worth you coming over to the Facebook page as well, which is called Plaster Master Smurf 74. Plaster Master Smurf 74. It's a little group on there, and it's doing really well in the sense that there's it's almost 800 people on that little group now, and it's a really nice little group. You can ask for advice. There's plenty of people on there other than me. It's getting quite a busy little area. There's all sorts of chats going on, all left, right and centre. I can't keep up with them. There was a time when I could read everything, but now I'm being a little bit more inundated. There's a general chat going on. I'm putting up little snippets all the time of upcoming videos. So yeah, just come over there and have a look. And of course, if you do want to support this channel, because I don't make any money apart from the ad revenue. So if you do subscribe to the channel, then it puts me up the algorithm and stuff like that. I mean, not that I need much encouragement. I quite enjoy making these videos, but yeah, it just gets me around a little bit more. I mean, what am I making? £150 a month, churning out these videos, 2 or 3. I mean, sometimes it's one a day. Videos a week. Like I say, I'm enjoying them. There might be something else coming up in the pipeline soon as well. I might be covering a boxing event. It's a charity event. It's in the pipeline. Within the next couple of weeks I should have some more information on it. But yeah, I might do that as a little sideline. I might put that up on this channel. It's a boxing event for a charity called Boxing for Veterans. They've had a few little troubles and they've been quiet for a while because there was, I don't want to go into it, but they had some financial issues and that had to be resolved. And yeah, they're back up and running, and they've got a little modest event that they're going to start. It's going to start in a couple of weeks, and it's all aimed, you know, to it's for charity. It's boxing for veterans, as I say, veteran-based charities and stuff like that, hospitals, blah blah blah. They just get as much money as they can, and companies sponsor them, and it gets sent around to different charities. Any money that's made. So that is that. So guys, yeah, thanks for watching. If you like plastering and boxing, this channel is going to be the place for you in the next couple of months. So the procedure is going to be, we'll see how it goes, but the fight night is on September the 20th. So the idea is we get, I mean, I've done this as well. I've been through this. I've done a few fights for them, but I'm a little bit old and I've taken some injuries now, and I'm nowhere near fighting fit at the moment. So I won't be fighting, but yeah, like I say, I'll probably handle in their social media thing. And fight night will be on the 20th of September. So we get the guys in, train them all up, and then we decide who's going to fight each other and stuff like that, which is what are going to be the best boxing matches. And then it all, crescendos up into a magnificent night of boxing, and you have tables and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a nice evening now. Anyway, I've gone on too much about it. I'm going to crack this beer that's calling my name. Fucking cobras. Enjoy the rest of Sunday. Now I've got this edited, I can get it rendered and then get it uploaded to YouTube in my own leisure. Okay, so cheers guys, take it easy, I'll see you on the next one. Oh, that was quite nice, straight from the bottle. How uncouth.